Hi, this is Annabelle 74, and this is the Turpin House of Horrors Part 2. We're going to pick up where we left off last week. Remember, this series is going to be exclusively done on every Sunday, and it's 5 parts. So now we're moving on to Part 2. David Turpin, 56, and his wife, 49-year-old Louise Turpin, have had more than 3 dozen felony charges against them. They both face charges of torture, perjury, false imprisonment, and abuse. Louise Turpin's defense attorney requested that she be allowed to attend a mental health diversion program, claiming that she had recently been diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder. The attorney claimed that the disorder caused Turpin to be controlling, and that added to her being motivated to torture the children. Dr. Aaron Parks from the UC Riverside Department of Psychology said the disorder is rare and difficult to treat. The judge for the case, Bernard Swartz, denied the request, saying the court was not satisfied that Louise Turpin did not pose a threat to public safety. He cited the lack of care for her children and the facts that were presented during the preliminary hearing. Louise Turpin's attorney said had she been given this treatment, it could have delayed the trial for up to 2 years, and the charges against her could have been dismissed. So once again, that's where we're going to pick up, and these next 2 clips are going to cover this part of the trial. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you like what you've heard, hit that notification button because you don't want to miss this intriguing case, the Turpin House of Horrors.
David and Louise Turpin back in a Riverside County courtroom for a trial readiness hearing. But what was expected to be a relatively mundane proceeding took a surprising turn. The attorney for Louise Turpin requested his client be referred to an out-of-custody treatment program for a mental health disorder, stating Turpin had recently been diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder. Dr. Aaron Parks with the UC Riverside Department of Psychology says the disorder is rare and difficult to treat. He has not evaluated Turpin and is not associated with the criminal case.
It's marked by 2 big things. It's excessive emotionality and the need for attention. They're uncomfortable without attention. They have a very shallow emotionality.
The Turpins are accused of torturing 12 of their 13 children. The prosecution argued against the request, saying the defense didn't establish if the disorder led to the criminal behavior. They also cited a threat to public safety. The judge denied the request, also citing the threat to the community. Turpin's attorney says had the request been granted, it could have delayed the trial by up to 2 years while Turpin underwent treatment. And ultimately, the charges against her could have been dismissed. Now the couple will be back in court next month for another trial readiness hearing. While the judge did deny the request, he did so without prejudice, meaning that if the defense was to present new information, they could revisit the request at a later date.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Click the ABC7 logo to subscribe to our Eyewitness News
Is
YouTube
putting
channel.
their witnesses on the stand to make out their case for David and Louise Turpin. And by the end of today, potentially tomorrow, we will find out from the judge if there is in fact enough evidence for the Turpins to go on trial. They, of course, are the Perris parents accused of torturing their 13 children. Their case has drawn international attention since January when their 17-year-old daughter escaped the family's home and called 911. That chilling 20-minute phone call, it was just played in court. We cannot share the audio, but I can tell you the girl, identified as 17-year-old Jordan Turpin, told the dispatcher, quote, "My parents are abusive. They abuse us. My 2 little sisters are chained up." She later clarified, saying a brother was chained up as well, all of them to their beds. What you're looking at are my notes from the courtroom. The 17-year-old told the dispatcher, quote, "We never take baths," and said her last bath was almost a year ago. A sheriff's deputy also took the stand this morning. He interviewed the 17-year-old following her escape. He described the teenager as being scared to death and said that she had trouble pronouncing words, indicating that she acted significantly younger than her real age. Brandy and Leslie, I can also tell you a photo of that teenager's bedroom was shown in court. In that picture, you could see 2 padlocks on one of the bunk beds. Also on the stand, the deputy revealed that Jordan Turpin said she was sexually abused by her father when they lived in Murrieta, saying David Turpin would pull down her pants and put her on his lap. The teenager told the deputy her father would try to force kiss her on the mouth. I should mention that David Turpin also faces one count of lewd acts on a child. The couple pleaded not guilty to all charges previously. They are being held on $12 million bail each. If convicted, they could be facing life in prison. And Brandy and Leslie, as we send it back to you, more details from the courtroom and that stunning 911 phone call, the audio that was played. Jordan Turpin told the dispatcher that her parents ran a fake school. She said that she slept for more than 15 hours a day. And when the dispatcher asked why her siblings were chained up to her beds, to the bedrooms, the 17-year-old said that one of the younger sisters was being punished for calling her mother the devil, saying that she was worse than the devil.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Click the ABC 7 logo to subscribe to our Eyewitness News YouTube
today
channel.
in the case of the Perris couple accused of imprisoning and starving their 13 children. KCAL 9's Tina Patel is live tonight in Riverside with the disturbing details heard in court today. Tina?
Well, this hearing is to decide whether there's enough evidence for the Turpins to go to trial. And the prosecutors did not hold back, putting a half dozen investigators on the stand, showing graphic photos and revealing disturbing details of what they say the couple's 13 children were forced to endure. Louise and David Turpin showed very few emotions as they sat in the courtroom, not even reacting when the 911 call made by their 17-year-old daughter was played. That 17-year-old seen here in earlier YouTube videos had escaped from a front window of the family's Perris home in January, but she had trouble telling dispatchers her address because she hadn't been out much. She said she was worried about two of her little sisters who were chained up by their parents and tried to describe their living conditions. Quote, "I can't breathe because of how dirty the house is." That 17-year-old also told investigators that although much of the abuse came from her mother, her father tried to sexually assault her when she was 12. She said he pulled her pants down and put her on his lap, then told her not to tell anyone. In social media posts, the Turpin children are seen wearing matching clothing on trips to Las Vegas and Disneyland. But investigators showed very different photos in court, saying when the children were rescued, they were caked in dirt and wearing soiled undergarments. They say the children were rarely allowed to bathe, one girl saying that she changed her clothing to go out for Mother's Day, and when she came home, she was to put the same dirty, soiled clothing back on. As for the medical condition of the children, doctors found one of them had liver damage due to malnutrition. Another had a vitamin D deficiency and visible scoliosis. And an 11-year-old girl had a body weight percentile of just 0.01. Her upper arm the size of a 4.5-month-old baby. This case is just about what the family went through when they were living in Murrieta and Perris. Some of what we heard today makes it clear that the allegations of abuse began when the family lived in Texas. Arguments are expected to resume in the morning.